Welcome to a new episode, or first episode, I should say, of Beyond the Jump. New podcast, or new name of the Global Champions podcast. And for this podcast that we record in Doha, we've got two fresh guests, Geir Gulliksen and John Whitaker. Geir, you are mainly fresh because you just had a massage.
Yeah, very good. We've been enjoying the life here in Doha, after having a busy weekend jumping, and then now just come back from jet skiing and then straight to massage, and now a nice chat here with Advin John Whitaker.
There we go. Kicking it off with who?
Advin John Whitaker. Nobody knows that. That's actually his name. Everybody thinks he's John Whitaker, but his name is Advin John Whitaker.
So from now we should call him Edwin. Where does the name Edwin come from, John?
It's a bit of a long story, but...
We've got time.
No, it's... my father had a friend called Edwin, and he said, if you name your son after me, I'll leave him some money in my will. So I got the name, but I didn't get the money.
You got the name, but not the money.
No.
Talking about nicknames, the reason why we put the two of you together in this room is the story behind the name Jimmy, because it all starts with you, Geir, going to the Whitaker family. John, you're the least youngest of the group here. What do you remember of young Geir arriving?
No, actually, yeah, I did come to my family home in the 70s. And I think just around the time that I just really kind of got married and just moved out. Is that right?
Yes, he was just moved out.
Probably the same year. That was 1979. And we, as far as I remember, so long ago, we met Geir at one of the indoor shows, or not?
Mill
Lodge, yeah.
Yeah.
Mill Lodge was a big equestrian event indoor that we used to go to through the winter season, and it was a big meeting place. All the British riders used to go there, and we used to meet people there, and that's where we first met Geir. And then he got really friendly with my brother Stephen, and Stephen invited him to our family home. So then he met my father, and he said, "Yeah, what's your name?" He said, "Geir Gulliksen." My father said, "No, that's too much of a mouthful. You're Jimmy," and that's stuck ever since.
It's stuck.
And actually, they had another one. Finnish guy working there, he called Juhani Eo. And he said, I call you Fred the Finn.
So
You had Fred and Jimmy.
So that's, yeah.
No, actually, I came to England after gymnasium, studying. I should have half a year off, before going on to some other studies. So I went to a very famous dealer that days called Fergus Graham. He was probably one of the biggest dealers in Europe. Like he was like a Jan Tops at those days, and he sold all expensive horses. And so I went there, and then we went to this show, like in Mill Lodge. Mill Lodge, in those days, there was not like 5-star, 3 stars, there was probably 3-4 indoor shows in the winter. It was Horse of the Year shows, Antwerp, Paris, and Dortmund, I think, more or less.
In those days, yeah.
Yeah, and so all the top riders, like Nick Skelton, John, Michael, all was a Mill Lodge. So we went there, and I got to know this, and Jeff Billington and all this. And then Stephen said one day, "Why do you stay at that Fergus's place? Come with us home," which I did, and it was fantastic. And like what he said, it was, and since they've been very close friends to the whole family, and it's been a great time.
How long did you stay?
Stayed for I think 4 or 5 months, and then I went back because I had to start some studies in Norway, but kept the contact all the time. We had very good contact all the way, and I bought many horses from John. I bought many horses from Stephen. We had a great business and friendship. All the years up to this day. So it's been very, very good.
I'm a little bit surprised because I thought that I never read or heard really about the depth of the story. I thought that you stayed much, much longer. It's only 5 months.
Yeah.
That resulted in such a
because I stayed first. I was a couple months, 2-3 months at at Fergus Graham before I got into meet Stephen and John and Michael, you know. So, but you know, it was very active at that time, you know. And I shared room with Ian, which is the father of William Whitaker, and he was a milkman. And Stephen, he was a nightman. And Stephen, he went out late in the night, and I had to go with him. And we come home at 2, and at 1 hour later, the bell was going, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, what's going on. Then Ian was getting up to go for his milk round to deliver the milk at the doors. And this John has to answer. I can't remember if he had a car or he still had a pony, you know, because I used to have a pony and a carriage, you know, to go around and deliver milk.
Well, yeah, myself and Michael, we used to deliver milk with a horse and cart before school. We had a farm, and my uncle milked the cows and bottled the milk, and then we delivered it to the doorsteps, you know. And myself and Michael delivered with a horse and cart, and my mother took the rest with a van. I'm sure by the time it got to Ian, he already had a van, you know, but
yeah.
I don't think we still did it with a horse and cart.
No, I don't think so. But, you know, at the time he has worked out 8 hours, he came back and we got up, so we started.
He already worked 8 hours. John already worked.
No, there was Ian. I shared a room with Ian.
His youngest brother.
What did you learn there? What did you see at the Whitaker family? What attracted you? Because the other guy was such a big name in dealing and in sport. What attracted you then in the Whitaker family?
Yeah, but the Whitaker family were already then, you know, like they're winning everything already at that time, you know, but on normal horses. But what you learned there, you know, make things simple, you know, like, you know, there was no fancy. There was not even a outer arena. There was just a field on a hill. You rode on a hill. You not ride on a, like now we have these fancy arenas and indoors and all this. Indoors was like just not even in question. It was just the top of the hill and rain and wind. And so we learned it's even possible to do these things. Even if you have a good horse and you ride well, you can make it, you know. And these boys there, you know, and Michael already in '79 he was winning the Hickstead Derby, but he didn't have even the outdoor arena, you know.
The time that Geir arrived, how old were you at the time?
I think I was 24, 23, 24.
Yeah, that's right, because I was 19, so it's 5 years between us, so that's right.
Yeah.
So at the time you were already riding Ryan's son?
I had a good horse called Ryan's Son,
Yeah,
yes.
it was already there. And you had him from when you were 18?
I started with Ryan's Son when I was 17 and Ryan's Son was 4. So we started together, you know, both young, and built up together.
So we're talking about the 1970s. I was born in 1982. I've never seen Ryan's Son. Gary, if you should describe him to me, what was Ryan's Son like? Do you remember Ryan's Son?
Yeah, I remember really well, you know. And he was like, if you imagine like a Irish draft horse, you know, but a little bit lighter, you know. He had a big white face, you know, his white socks behind. He had, you know, there was... He wouldn't be, you know, John is not a tall person. I would think he would be like 165.
Big feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a...
Big head.
like Irish draft, but not like the big size, but he was probably mixed with something else, but it was
heavy.
Like... yeah, not really heavy. I think he was quite sharp, you know, of itself.
Yeah, Avi Smith, famous show jumper at the time, described him as a cart horse with a thoroughbred engine, and it was a good description, actually.
Was he that good of a horse? Yeah.
He changed our lives. You know, he got me to the top. I actually did 2 substitute Olympics in Rotterdam.
Yeah, the one that replaced
Moscow,
yeah.
1980.
And actually got 2 silver medals, silver individual and silver team. And then 4 years later did Los Angeles and got a silver team medal again. So he took me to the very, very top.
And what do you think, you know, like people say, oh, in those days, you know, it was much easier. I would say, nearly, that the fences were bigger at that time. You know, it was a different sport. There was more fill in the fences, but, you know, you need to have a horse who wanted to jump big fences, you know, like it was, I remember that in Los Angeles, triple combination was wall, and then water, was a vertical or oxer in the middle?
I think it was an oxer.
Wall, oxer with water underneath, and then vertical, I think. Like, And you have also, in those days, you had triple bar in the combination. Now it's not allowed anymore, but you have vertical oxide. It was very common.
Massive.
The fences were, at the time, massive. They sent massive. I mean, you walk the course and you think, no, this is impossible to jump. But they were different. There were strong poles, lots of filling in the fences. They still knocked down, you know, but they were big.
Help me understand. Today, in 2 days' time here in Doha, we'll jump a Grand Prix of 1.60 m. If you go to the Olympics, it's up to 1.65 m. The fences weren't any bigger at that time, were they? I mean, taller.
Yeah, but they were stronger. They looked taller. But you know, like in the Grand Prix of Aachen, was nearly like a Presence. They kept going. In the last round, could be 1.90 m. You know, because they just kept going higher every round.
In those days.
Yeah.
Aachen Grand Prix was 4 rounds in those days, and they just kept going bigger. Less fences, but bigger jumps.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't any technical, like now we have, you know, should we do 6 or 5 strides, you know, but it was massive, big.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, like you had nation cups, you know, like, and we don't have like Super League and First Division. I remember in Aachen in 1985, there was 16 teams with 4 in each, so 128 rounds, raining. There was only 3 guys who had the short sleeves on. You know, there was a guy with the triple combination. It was Oxa vertical. Big, like John said, you know, I would say they're much more impressive. Today, what is difficult today is to keep them up, you know, it's delicate. Like we had here last week, we had a line, you know, like if you touch it, it come down, like on the Friday night there, you know. It's like you can't breathe on them, you know.
Yeah.
But these in those days, they also needed to be careful, but they needed to be super brave and scopy, you know. So it was different, but it wasn't any easier, you know, if people think that, you know.
John, taking it back to the 1970s, when young Geir Gulliksen, what age were you, John, Geir, when you came there?
19.
19. What do you remember of Geir at that time?
he's a little bit like he is now, but younger, very active, very nosy, asking every question, looking at everything, every stable. He's looking, you know, he's so eager to either find something, you know, some trick or something we do, or he just was so keen to learn. You know, it's like he is now, only younger.
Would you agree?
Still the same.
Yeah, no, it's the same, and that's why I think that's why I keep me fairly young for my age, because I'm not giving up. You know, I'm just trying to learn more things, improve on things, do this. You know, and I think that this is my personality. But you know, like it's and I, you know, like, but for me to go there with these guys was, you know, in those days, you know, if you think they're popular or famous today, in those days they were the one. You know, like there was no Scott Brash or something. There was John Whitaker and Michael Whitaker and Nick Skelton. Those were the superstar in our sport, you know. And Ludger was a bit younger, so, you know, like he came later, you know, like when Ludger started to jump, you know, like these were superstars, and, you know,
already.
And he thought, like, I'm going to jump against these two, you know, like Ludger told me once if he's seen a video from Dortmund, you know, it's unbelievable, you know, like, you know, if you see Ludger, how it developed, but, you know, first time he jumped in Dortmund against these superstars, you know, like he had no chance, you know, like he was 5 lengths behind, and, you know, like it was completely different world, you know. Mm-hmm. But they were in front of their time, you know, and they still, you know, like it's like John, you know, he's coming 67, 5th of August, and he's riding as good as ever, you know, like it's just fantastic to watch. But he's the same in a different way. He's very keen in what he's doing. He's interesting. Today I let him ride my horse because we discussed it. I said, it's nice to you ride it and give me a view of what you think. And, you know, like most people which are his age, they would think, oh, do I have to ride one more horse? He said, oh, it's great. He likes it. You know, like he gets up early in the morning. He rides normally 2 in the morning before he had breakfast. And he has no groom tacking up, you know, he tack up himself. He's a horseman. And this we lack today, you know. We don't have horsemen like John Whitaker around, you know, and who knows this. Many of these top riders that couldn't even put a bridle on a horse. And worse, never put a saddle or do things like, you know, John, he knows how things works with a horse, you know, with with equipments, with how they, if they're sick, and you know, and many riders today lack that skill, and that's unfortunate, I would say, because it takes a lot out of, because that's important for our sport to understand these things.
John, if I hear what Geir says, I think, why is John Whitaker traveling to the other side of the world? He's won everything. I started counting. I just stopped with all the medals that you've won at World Championships, World Equestrian Games, World Cup finals, launching Global Champions Tours. Why do you still get up in the morning and ride those two horses, travel to Doha first, ride those two horses, and then ride Jimmy's?
I think first things first. I think first of all, I feel really good. I feel, you know, my body feels good. Touch wood. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enthusiastic. I'm still trying to win. It's in my blood, and I still really enjoy it's still a challenge, and I don't feel like giving up. You know, I do enjoy it, and I had a couple of years a little bit lean where I was not winning so much, but then I found two good horses again and brought them on over the last 2 years, and now they're starting to do 5 stars really good, and it's really kind of rewarding, you know. I wasn't completely out of it 2 years ago, but I was kind of down the rankings, doing smaller shows, doing 2-star shows, which is really hard work. Trying to compete in 2 and 3 stars is tough, but it was a challenge, and you know, I found 2 good horses, and I've produced them, and it just feels really rewarding to get back to the top level again.
Because, like you say, at the time when you were riding those 2 and 3 star shows, and you were short for the top horses, everybody would have understood if John Whitaker would have retired at that point. It would have made perfect sense. You know, the superstars were gone for a moment. You come to an age, to a point in your career where everybody would have understood, oh, okay, John Whitaker retires. That makes sense. Did it cross your mind?
Not really. Not to retire completely. No. You know, sometimes you think everything runs off the ranking list. You know, and it's a bit of a vicious circle. To stay high up on the ranking list, you need to be doing the 5-star shows. You know, because to try and get up the ranking list from 2 and 3 star shows is really, really difficult. So it's a little bit like the egg and the chicken. You know, once you're in the 5 stars, it's easier to stay in. You know, so it is a bit of a battle to get back into top class 5-star shows, but I never kind of thought, no, I've had enough, I want to give up. You know, it was a challenge, and I think first and foremost, I enjoy the sport, I enjoy the challenge, I enjoy looking for new horses, and producing them, and getting them to the top level. So I never ever thought, oh, I've had enough, it's too hard, sick of this. It's never crossed my mind, and a lot of people ask me, how long are you going to carry on riding? I said, well, for a while yet, because I've just bought some new boots.
No, but this is a question. What John says there is exactly, you know, I have the same question. People say, oh, now your kids are riding so well, now you don't need to ride. But I never rode because of my kids. I rode because, like John, I enjoy it. And I enjoy it as much now as I've ever done, probably more. You know, so, and you never do it to be, I think if you want to do this sport to be famous, you wouldn't stay on for a long time, because it's too hard. You know, nobody stays on, it goes, like John says, up and down and with the horses. And, you know, it's not like if you are a skier, you are in the top 5 in every race if you're a top one, and you never number 40. We can win one class, the next class we have 145, you know. So if your intention is to be a superstar, then you wouldn't stay in this job very long, you know, because then you get fed up of the down trips, because 90% of the down trips are coming, you know, and down trips where I say 1 down, 2 down, you know, which is most of the time. And But you have to enjoy your success when you have it, and then forget about it and go on with it. And John, he never, what I would say, took advantage of his position. He never said, "I'm John. Do you know who I am?" If you come up to him and he said, he wouldn't say, "Right, you guy there, you know who you're talking to." He wouldn't say like that. You know, like some people who wants to be important and be superstars, they think, "Don't talk to me like that. You don't know who you're talking to." You know, like John is ever. He's always, if there is a queue for food, he would never go in the front. He would go as far back as possible. He would never get these things, Chris. You probably see me further up the queue, you know, because I'm always looking for a position, you know, see if I can sneak in there or get this, you know. But I admire him, you know, because his things he's been doing is just because his proper horsemanship, and he loves the sport, and he stays there because he loves and there's nothing. His career is only about him, not about what the rest of the world think.
That's what I read on. I think it was on World of Show Jumping. They read an article with you or an interview, and they asked you who you looked up to, and you said John Whitaker for his mental strength, for how strong he is mentally. When he's down, he always gets up. He always keeps going. And I think you literally said, regardless of the result of the day before, he always starts the next day fresh.
Yeah, I can tell you, this is many, many years back. In the old days, there was a series called Renault Jumping. You know, it was like, yeah, it was it's not similar to Global Championship, but it was like those days, you can say Global Champions Tour. And he had Milton, which was a superstar. And when Milton touched one fence and still jumped clear, people said, "Oh, he's jumping bad today." You know, like he was a superstar horse because he had a superstar rider. And one day he had 4 down in the Saturday class, because in those days we jumped every day. You know, started the show on Thursday, we jumped Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not like we ride and rest them and school them, and you know, we competed. So it 4 down, and everybody was like shocked. What's happening?
How can Milton have
4 down? And you know, a lot of people would say, "Yeah, you see, there was that guy in the corner there, and there was this there," and you know, like explaining why. Then it was this guy moved, so my horse get shocked there. John said, "I kicked 4 fences down," and the people said, "Huh? What? Yeah, that's what happened." Next day, he won the Grand Prix because he didn't carry that with him. You know, he thought, he probably thought in his head, that was very good, you know, like he will be a bit sharper tomorrow. And he was. Because that was normal. But he didn't lose his confidence. And he has unbelievable right confidence, because you can have confidence, think you are top of the world, and try you floating if you're winning a bit, you know, and you're youngish and you think, "Oh, I'm better than everyone else." John never thought he was better than everyone. He was just thinking in his own world, what can I do to improve this? And he always looked at the position very positive. You know, like if you bring him a horse, many top riders say, "Oh, that shit horse, I don't want to ride." John, even if he were jumping 30 centimeters, he said, "Oh, it's nice. Yeah, it's a little bit nice." He looked always on the positive sides with horses.
And find the good in everything a little bit.
Because that's the thing. You've been jumping at the highest level for nearly 50 years now. I mean, that also means that you have to find horses over 5 decades. Horses have changed dramatically. Sport has changed dramatically. To find good horses in the 70s, those horses aren't the same in the 80s, neither in the 90s, and especially not in the year 2000 or 2010 and now 2020. So, and if you say that you've bought yourself a new pair of boots, you really have to have a special ability to adapt to situations, or to stay mentally strong and be awake all the time, aware.
I think you're right. The most difficult thing these days, excuse me, is finding good horses, and the sport is so professional, and there's so many people looking for that special horse. You know, so many good riders, everybody looking for a good horse. So that is the most difficult thing. So you have to be resilient and just keep going, keep looking. Quite often you find that horse around the corner just by chance, you know. So, like I think most riders, you try everything you get offered. You're always going with your eyes open. thinking one day the next Milton's going to turn up, you know.
But is that then the difference with John Whitaker with other riders? The positive approach, the looking for the good thing in a horse. Was
I would probably. I get criticised sometimes from my family for trying too much, you know, with a horse that doesn't seem to try and find the right. Doesn't seem to get much better. It doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better. And if I see a small thing that I think gives me hope, I keep going. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But my family especially said to me, "Oh, you're trying too much. You're spending too much time with that horse. It's not going to be good. It's never going to be good enough." But if I see something, I keep going.
And did you prove him wrong?
A few times I proved them wrong. I think they proved me wrong more times than I proved them wrong. But sometimes, sometimes it's worked out for me. Yes.
Yeah, but just see, if you look at the days, the people we know now, you see it was unique, the one, the Frankfurt, you know, like when that came out, it didn't jump like it does today, because he worked on it, he's developed the horse and made it into what it is today, is a Grand Prix horse, top level, you know. And because a lot of riders will probably, you have to tell me wrong, John, but a lot of riders will probably say, no, I don't think that's good enough, I give up that one.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, from my point of view, you have to see some. You know, if I see something in the horse, I keep trying, and sometimes it pays off.
So now we're talking about Unique de Francfort. Okay, Geir, you said when he was young, he wasn't the horse that he is now. Obviously, horses develop. How good of a horse was Milton when he was young?
No, Milton was good.
Straight away.
Yeah, he was good straight away. The only thing I had to learn, I had to change my style a little bit pretty quickly to ride Milton. He was so powerful, he needed time to come up with his front end, you know. It was a bit slow motion in front, and I quickly found, you know, the way to ride him, but you had to give him time to come up in front, and I must say, like Ryan's son and most of the horses I had throughout my career before that were completely opposite, so I had to kind of develop my style to ride Milton, but I kind of quite soon found the right key to ride him, and once I got that key, I was away.
Your family, they're all strong horsemen and women. Where does it come from?
I think it probably comes from the background. My parents, my father, he wasn't really a show jumper, but he was a horseman. He worked with horses, farm horses, working horses. He knew how horses ticked. You know, he was really, really good at solving problems. If you had a problem with a horse, you know, he could figure it out quite often. Although he'd never been a show jumper himself, he knew how the horses worked and how their minds worked. And
so does that make you more a horseman than a show jumper? If I understand it well?
Well, I think one goes with the other one, really. You know, one goes with, and another thing my father kind of gave us, when I was younger, you know, you go in a ring and you could knock 10 jumps down and clear one, and you go and see my father, and he'd say, "By God, mate, jump that one, unbelievable." I say, "What about the rest?" Doesn't matter, he jumped that one, unbelievable. So, and that's what he, and me and Michael are actually like that now, you know. We always look at the good side of, like Geir mentioned earlier, the hardest thing in this sport is coping with the bad days. You know, again, you especially if you think you're going to have a good chance to win the Grand Prix and you go and make a mistake, you knock 2 down. That is hard to get over, you know. You have to be strong to get over that, come out the next day and do your best again. And I think my father actually installed that in us, you know. He gave us that kind of mental way of looking at things. Always look at the good side of it. There's always another day, and that's kind of stuck with me and Michael for sure.
Because not only do you have to be able to find good horses over 5 decades. I asked a few riders before this we record this podcast. What do you admire about John Whitaker? And mainly people, riders, let's say between 25 and 40. And he said his ability to adapt over half a century of sport is unbelievable. Last Saturday you had the Grand Prix here, and he still competes to win against and teenagers, people in their 20s, at their strength in their 30s, and he's still the better man. He's still the better rider. He completely adapted to the modern demands of the sport. Is it something that you are aware of?
Not really, no. But I must say, when I ride better now than I did 20 years ago. Actual riding. I might not win as much, but my style on the horse, my position, it's much, much better than it was 20 years ago. And I think you have. Well, you've got no chance if you don't go with the times. If you don't change with the times, I wouldn't be here. Like, he rides better than he's riding better now than he has all his life. It's the same thing. We've changed we've gone with the times. We've stuck with the times, and we're, yeah.
But I think
otherwise we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what helped us is that we grew up differently, and when we grew up, there was no stress with shows every week, like not so much, like, okay, when John was in 25, 30, he was getting more shows, but that it wasn't. I think we had more fun with the horses, like we enjoyed being around horses and doing this, not just compete, but the whole thing. And that helped us also, that we like what we're doing. And that's what helped us on the bad days, it's only not the competition. We like to do well in competition, but it's not only that. And that, I think, with a lot of riders today, they couldn't nearly ride motorbikes. That would be the same. Not all of them love the horses in the same way. I think this is probably a hard statement to give, but I think we grew up differently and we have a different background, with the horses and like that,
So that takes me back to my initial question. Why, at this age, still doing this? Still going through this circus, still traveling on the plane, off the plane, riding Geir's horse in the morning before breakfast? Why? What's the why? Why do you guys do this still?
Because we enjoy it.
Yeah.
We look forward to it, and every week's a new challenge. Every day's a challenge, and I think we're speaking for the pair of us. We really enjoy it. We talk about it in the evenings. We think about it in the mornings. We work on our horses.
Yeah. And when I watched John ride my horse today, it's interesting. And it's not like I said, you ride my horse, I go to the hotel. It's not that. It's not because I don't want to ride myself. But I thought it was interesting to see John ride the horse and see what he was doing. And, and everything he did actually was what I thought he would do. And it was interesting because I have the same ideas about that horse as he has. And, like what he does. And, like we discussed it afterwards. So it's not that, I don't want to ride. I'm lazy. I want to stay in bed and then you can ride my horse. I enjoyed it. I walked with him up to the ring. I sat in the corner. I watched him and, interesting. And that's why I think we... like you think we are in the 60s and why should we watch this? No, we try to, like he said, we try to improve, we try to learn all the time. And I think many young people today comes to things in general much easier, We had to fight much harder to get up there, and a lot of young people get it easier. And even if I look to my kids, like, when I were their age, I didn't have I couldn't do what they're doing. Okay, the world changes, but still, like they have it much easier than we had. And for me, there was no sacrifice. I'm very happy that I had that grow up like I had, because that's given me the punch for the rest of my life. So it's I think that's so I'm not wanted to be like young in 2022, I enjoy the time we had, and I think, and probably the people they enjoy the time now, but I think it was good for us.
I'm again going to go back to this morning. What did you see? Who did he ride first of all? Calvino.
Yeah, Grandino, yeah.
And
Yeah.
what did you see?
Yeah, because John, he says to me, this one, he said in Olympia, I said, I really like that horse, and it looks, and a lot of people haven't really spotted that horse, like I've ridden many horses like John, and you, when you feel there's something there with the horse, it's very, very careful, sensitive, but sensitive in positive way. He's not spooky. So it's a very good combination. You just have to get him to relax and then feel good, and sometimes, he gets not difficult, but but you cannot, a lot of riders would then punish them, but then those will be frightened of the punishment, and then you have the problem accelerate, and instead of, we tried, both of us, when we ride horse, we avoid the problem. We try to be smooth and like, okay, so if you are scared of the dark, I'm not going around the corner with you, Frederick, and say, oh, there's a ghost there, like that's, then you get more frightened, I said, calm down, Frederick, this is going to be fine, talk to you. And that's a little bit what we do with the horse. We do it by doing things, but and talk to him and like this to settle him down, because he doesn't do it because he's naughty. It's just full of quality, and that comes out sometimes, in these situations.
Just getting to a big arena like this arena here, and it's a bit awe-inspiring. And, you just have to give them sometimes time to relax and trust the rider, basically.
Mm-hmm. Did you finish off on a good point with Grandino?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, it was like we expected. He went in the ring and he was looking everywhere. But after 5 minutes, he was relaxing, and like you said, I didn't punish him. Just tried to support him and got him to relax, and it was really good. Yeah, he did a good job, I think.
No, it was and it was good. But that also, we have basically the same ideas, And I think most of my success with horses is that I take the horse at ease and try it like John said, like we adapt into the horse. I'm not going to say you going to be like I want. I try to be like he wants. What is the best for the horse? What makes him the best? It's like I explained to John, like Quattro, is completely opposite of Grandino. He's the same every day, and if he's fresh, he jumps better. Like Grandino is better if he's not so fresh. So I worked him. He jumped on Saturday, and then he had 2 easy days now. So I just said to John, I put him in like a telephone. I charge him up in the box. I plug him in. He just need to, he's a racehorse. He doesn't need all this. I work him. So I said, today I work him, but tomorrow he has the easy day before he jump on Thursday. And if I do that with Grandino, it's a complete disaster. I have no chance, So it is a different plan with a different horse. So you have to, try to find out how is the horse perform the best. How does you make him ready to perform the best? And that's the interesting part of it. To do this and then see if you can succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's trying to get inside their minds, how they think, and like Geir said, how to get the best out of them. Sometimes it takes time and trial and error to find the right system, but that's what it's all about.
I've got two questions before we close. One question is specifically for you, John, from one of the riders here at the venue. He said, if you sit down with John, ask him who is the better horse. Is it Milton or Ryan's son? Who was the best horse that he rode?
No, definitely Milton was a horse of a lifetime. He was exceptionally good horse. Ryan's son, okay, he was massive in our careers, not just my career, but the rest of the family. He changed our lives. But Milton was a horse of a lifetime. Yeah, he was a special horse.
Okay. And then we're at the start of the Global Champions League season and of the Longines Global Champions Tour circuit. What are the ambitions for 2022?
Just to do well, do the best we can. Last year was a really good year for me. I had some really good placings, and especially in the Global Tour in London. That qualified me for the playoffs in Prague, which was fantastic to go to and be part of, and I think to be part of those events gives you more ambition.
More buzz.
Yeah, it's great to be a part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and try and carry on this year. Carry on where we left off, hopefully.
Sorry that I don't let you answer just yet, Geir. Were you a man or are you a man that sets specific goals? I want to win that Grand Prix. I want to be top there. Because what I hear you say now is very humble, very calm. You know, try my best every day, steady, step by step. We see how it goes. It's very laid back is the wrong word. It's very humble.
I think, in my opinion, I think that's how you have to be a little bit with horses. Okay, my horse is, I think he's still improving. He's not that young, but he improved massively last year, and I think I don't want to say, right, I plan to win this one, I plan to win that one, I plan to win that one. I think you have to just do your best and take what comes. You try and give yourself goals or try to get the horse to peak at the right time. But I'm happy to, if I get some, to do what I'm doing, go to the good shows, and if I pick up some good results along the way, I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm. Geir, how is that for you? Because you're also a team member, you're also a Grand Prix contender, but you're also a team manager. What's the ambition for you this season?
I'm also the owner of Scandinavian Vikings. So that's the advertising today. No, I hope that Grandino, which I've been working for, I got it first time last year. Doha was his first show. I rode him. And I feel this year is coming. Last Friday was very good in the 160 class. It was double clear and fifth, So I feel he's stepping in the right direction. So I hope he can step up and be my Grand Prix horse. So I can use Quattro, flex him, because he's not like, he's a very good horse, but he's not really a top Grand Prix horse. But if you can use him in the right classes, he's world class, is what he's doing, So I hope I can step that up, so we can do well in the Grand Prix later in the season. This is my first show after Olympia, 2.5 months. So I try to be, I don't want to do too much too quick, So, but I'm like John, I'll try to, you have in your head what you want to do, but you don't go around and say, right, I'm going to win this, I'm going to do that, But obviously, like John, he doesn't go in that ring to just take part, and I think that's the answer. You try to do well. If you're not, it's not a social activity. It's a competition, and you would try to do well.
All right, gentlemen. I wish you both well, all the best. Thank you very much for sitting down with us here at Beyond the Jump. For our listeners, don't forget to subscribe to GCTV, whether it's on a live pass or a pro pass. Subscribe, stay in touch with us over the social media channels, obviously, as well, and enjoy the rest of the season.